5P with Lamondre is being presented by Root Global Impact. Root Global Impact is a multifaceted disability inclusion firm that amplifies your disability inclusion efforts and helps to establish you as an inclusion leader in your industry. To learn more about Root Global Impact, contact us at our website, rootglobal.com. That's RUHglobal.com. Today, our guiding theme is Sustainable Development Goal 3, to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Let's get it.
Welcome to 5P with Lamondre, the podcast that's all about the 5 Ps. People, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. If you're looking to be encouraged, inspired, and challenged, then this is the podcast for you. Here's your host, Lamondre.
I am so excited about this show today because it really is going to be an amazing conversation with someone who is doing amazing work around the world. I've known him for quite some time. But before I get into that, I told you I was establishing a voicemail line, and I really want to hear from you. So give us a call at 803-470-2830. That's 803-470-2830. And who knows, you just might hear yourself on 5P with Lamondre. Also, I want you to connect with us on Facebook and Twitter. That's 5P Podcast. 5P Podcast. That's how you can find us on Twitter. That's how you can find us on Facebook. I really want to hear from you. So connect with a brother, okay? Well, as I said, an amazing conversation in store for you today. My next guest is a connector. He's a marketer. He's a strategist. He's an artist. And honestly, he's an all-around good guy. He's currently the Interlocutor and Sustainability guy at Yei Kaalu Memorial Hospital. His name is Charles LaMark, and I call him Chuck. Chuck, welcome to the program, man.
Thank you, Lamondre. Thank you very much, and you're too kind.
Man, I'm so glad to have you there. I have to tell this story because when I first met Chuck, like the very next day, he invited me to a mustache party. Do you remember the mustache party at the top of the TAPS building?
Yes, I sure do.
It was amazing because the only requirement to gain access was that you had to have a mustache. Now, it could have been an organically grown mustache, or it could have been drawn on, or it could have been plastic. And if you did not have a mustache, you had, in order to gain entry, you had to bring a canned good or some kind of non-perishable food item. And even if you had a mustache, which I had a mustache, you were still strongly encouraged to do so. And the thing that I remembered about this party, it was such an eclectic gathering of people. It were so many different kinds of people there, different nationalities. You had people there who were CEOs to people who did roller derby. So it was just an amazing collection. And Chuck has been true to form ever since, man. So it was an amazing night, man, and I really appreciate the invite. And we have been friends for years. How many years ago was that, man?
You know what? I forgot all about it until you just mentioned it. It had to be 6, 7, 8 years ago.
That was a long time ago, man.
Who says giving can't be fun?
I'm telling you, it was really an amazing night. And you know what? This is when I said that you are working with building a hospital, the Yei Kaalu Memorial Hospital. Tell me about that project.
Well, Yei Kaalu Memorial Hospital is located in the village of Sanaquili, Liberia in West Africa.
Sanaquili?
Yes, Sanaquili. And that is actually where the organization of African states originated.
Okay.
Back in the 50s. Prior to, as intermittent between the wars that keep happening in Liberia. Now we're in a state of peace, and in that process, building a hospital because it's needed badly over there.
Now, tell me, why are you building a hospital? What is this all about?
Well, there's tremendous need for all kinds of, tremendous health needs over there. And as you may or may not know, Liberia was founded by ex-slaves and people of color, free people of color, back in 1826-27 by the American Colonization Society. And basically it's a way for society back then, the U.S. government, U.S. society, to solve the Negro problem, the slave problem.
Hey, go back home.
Yeah, send them back to Africa on a legal basis. However, the problem with that is we brought some of the sickness from the U.S. back to Africa, and we had Africans being enslaved and treated terribly by the free people of color from over here. So it's a never-ending roller coaster in that respect. So Liberia's been at war for almost 200 years because of this issue. You have westernized Africans enslaving or treating indigenous peoples terribly. So
yeah. It's there's a saying that hurt people hurt people.
Ooh, right on.
And you hear that because it does become a systematic kind of thing that happens. But as a result of that, as you said, a lot of illnesses, a lot of disease, a lot of things happen. What are some of the things that are prevalent because of that situation?
Well, as you probably know, Ebola was prevalent in West Africa, in Liberia, the last few years. It has been eradicated in Liberia, but again, it attacked society terribly. Prior to that, it was the two civil wars that recently took place in Liberia. But as I said earlier, Liberia's been at war for 200 years intermittently. Coup after coup, indigenous fighting, people that have come over, outside people have to come over. So society has not gelled completely yet, but it is in that process. As you also may know, the first female president in any African country was elected over 10 years ago, and it was a peaceful transition. Right. And she was reelected twice, Madam Sirleaf Johnson. And she's no longer president, but her successor is President Weah. And he is currently president, and that was a peaceful transition. So we are reaching some milestones. Fantastic. Peace is hard fought, but it is happening.
Right. I tell you, man, when you really start to think about the ramifications of honestly of this whole slavery issue and what that actually means, there are greater implications other than, you're free now. So now you have to think about economic empowerment. You have to think about just basic necessities of life, and healthcare is one of those major necessities. So you began this journey. How did this whole hospital come about?
Okay. Great question. And there's, matter of fact, there are a lot of answers to that question. How I got involved in Yei Kaalu around the year 2000, 2001, I was living in Pensacola, Florida, and I was working with my own organization, Our Children's Village, and I was doing a lot of work down in Central and South America. And one of my friends actually ran one of the largest volunteer organizations in the world, the volunteer aspect of the U.S. Navy in Pensacola. And his name is Honor Bell. And he invited me down to Miami to a conference, just for the ride, just for the fun of it, because he knew I was in the nonprofit sector. And he says, you might make some good contacts. Well, I sure did. I met a lady by the name of Frances Key. She was in Yugoslavia. I was doing some more work over in Europe as well, nonprofit work. And she was in the same city I was, unbeknownst to each other. And it was Pula, Croatia, in Yugoslavia, former Yugoslavia. Uh-huh. And we may have passed each other in the street. You're just walking along, but we discovered that fact, mutual fact that we were there at the same time, and became friends. And one day she called me up and says, hey, Chuck, can you help me get a friend out of harm's way in Liberia? And I said, sure, anything for you, Francis. And his name is Jacob Massaquoi. Charles Taylor was trying to assassinate him, get rid of him.
Charles Taylor.
Yep. Jacob was actually getting the child soldiers out of the bush and trying to get them out of harm's way and also get them from being child soldiers. Right. Charles Taylor didn't like that. He tried to assassinate Jacob. One time he almost succeeded, shot part of his leg off, but it was reattached, but it was 6 inches shorter. Anyway, Jacob is a trooper. He went right back out to work. Again, he was trying to be assassinated by Mr. Taylor, President Taylor. And this time, you don't want to attempt it twice. So Francis called me up, said, "Can you help?" And I got him over to Ghana for about 6 months, put him in a hotel, not a refugee camp, because I may never see him again.
Right.
Then I finally got him to Pensacola, July 4th. And I still remember the picture of him on the beach. The Blue Angels that day on July 4th were doing their acrobatics, and I have a picture of him ducking because, he's used to being strafed by jet fighters.
Oh,
this time
wow.
I said, "This is nice. These are friendly jets."
Wow.
Eventually, Jacob moved up to Staten Island, New York, where the largest expatriate community of Liberians exist. And he started his own nonprofit helping refugees from Liberia. And make a long story short, he grew up with a lady by the name of Doreen Gono. She is the true founder of Yei Kaalu Memorial Hospital. They both grew up in Santa Quelle. And Jacob, he's a hard worker, but sometimes he overextends himself. Mm-hmm. And he promised to build a website for Miss Gono, and he couldn't deliver. So he said, Chuck, can you help me? And I said, "Oh, what'd you do this time, Jacob?" So I said, "Okay." He says, I promised the lady to build a website, and I can't deliver. Can you help me? So I said, "Okay, I'll go ahead and do that." And I called up Doreen, and as soon as I mentioned Jacob, she says, What are you talking about? Jacob? And I said, No, don't worry. I'm not going to charge you a thing. I'm just doing this for Jacob. And she says, "Well, okay." And I had a website up in about a week, and I didn't charge her a thing. And next thing you know, she says, "Whoa, okay, this is nice." And one thing led to another, and I got involved with the project, loved what she was doing. And that's it, basically. And I have to say that, let me read something from our website.
Absolutely.
Okay, our inspiration, and this is Doreen Gono, Gono. Grandfather Yei Kaalu always wanted Doreen Gono to go to school. She volunteered to take care of her 2 children while she attended school. Her grandma's only advice was to get her education, return home, and give back to the community. She was so compassionate and caring. To continue her legacy of compassion and caring, this hospital is dedicated to her. Though her grandma is not with us anymore, her name will remain on the lips of those who left her forever through the services that will be provided at her hospital, providing medical care in part of her passion. So we will keep that alive. So this is dedicated to her grandmother, and the fact that Doreen has dedicated herself to helping the people in her town. Now, Doreen is a nurse. She lives in Philadelphia. She was part of that refugee stream of people that came over during the war.
Right.
But she's giving back to her community, and she goes over there all the time, and she's building the hospital, and I am helping her. Matter of fact, she's over there right now sending me pictures of the construction. So I'm very proud of her.
So as of right now, the hospital is still very much under construction.
Yes, it's under construction, and part of my job as Interlocutor is to connect people, raise funds, bring business acumen, all of that. And part of our philosophy is, okay, we can address the illnesses, everything from maternal to infant care to cuts, scratches, everything is needed over there. Aspirin is highly valued, gauze, clinics, everything is needed. However, just to address those medical issues doesn't necessarily mean health. We're looking at economic development. We're looking at psychological impact. So we need, a lot of people have PTSD over there. So when the hospital is built, it is a seed for further health,
Gotcha.
A healing process that can take place there. We want volunteers to come over. I want to create a program of volunteerism where we have doctors, volunteers come over and stay with the people in their homes there so that they can generate maybe $5 a day, which would go a long way. In fact, we're paying the construction workers about $2 a day plus a meal. They love it. We're creating economic development there. So if we can carry this over, start small businesses, little cafes to cater to the people that come over as volunteers to help with the hospital during construction and after construction to provide medical services, that will go to community healing.
Right.
So
right, and I want to give some perspective on that because when we say things like we're paying these guys $2 a day plus a meal, we need to understand what the strength of a dollar in Liberia in that can go a very long way. Can you give me some idea of what the equivalent of that would be?
That's like
here?
165 to 200.
That's like $200 a day here in the U.S. I'll put it that way, in the U.S.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so decent wage, a very decent wage.
It'll get some food on your table.
Absolutely. So let's back up a little bit because I want to talk more about what you said. You said that, that building this hospital and having a healthy environment that really interacts with the economy and those kinds of things. In what way? Because I really want to unpack this because I want people to understand the impact of what this hospital could have in that country.
Well, it's actually regional. We're 60 miles away from another major town called Ganta, which from Monrovia, the capital on the coast, to Ganta is a paved highway. From Ganta to Sanaquelli is one of the roughest roads you ever want to ride, especially, matter of fact, you can't even get there during the rainy season. So right now, the only medical facility in the area would be in Ganta. There are a few clinics in Sanaquelli, but they're not as effective in addressing what we want to address. So we will collaborate with as many people as possible.
And you're in Sanaquelli?
Yeah, in Sanaquelli, which is near Mount Nimba, which is one of the most biologically diverse areas in the world.
Right.
Beautiful area, but the beauty hides a lot of pain and a lot of illnesses.
Of course.
And when we talk about healing, again, it's not just the physical illnesses that take place there.
Right.
We have a lot of depression, PTSD. We need maternal infant care. It has one of the highest mortality rates, infant and maternal mortality rates in the world. We also want to address the economic development. I think the hospital as a seed creates employment when we have all these workers at $2 a day, which sounds very low. It's not. We're also feeding people. They are so happy. Matter of fact, whenever we go back over there, they wait. They're waiting. Oh, you're back. Thank you so much. So we're employing people, buying lumber, buying bricks. All of that has a ripple effect just in the construction, as it does anywhere in the world. But over there, the multiplier effect is greater.
Right.
And as I mentioned, the volunteerism, that's one of the concepts. I'd like to have coffee. That's one of the concepts further down the road, but the soil is so rich there, and the coffee is called Liberica, delicious coffee. It's very hardy, easier to grow, not so susceptible to disease. But what if we had coffee product that we could export not only regionally, but to Europe and to the U.S.?
That was going to be my next question. I mean, that could be a way to set up some international business.
Yes, and not just commodities. Africa, colonialism, long history of colonialism where they just take the raw product and they add value overseas. That doesn't benefit anybody. If we add value over there, that starts to benefit people. That's economic development. Adding value, having skill sets that we can help develop so that people can actually grow the economy and not just be a stepping stone for someone else. It needs to be a stepping stone for themselves. So Yei Kaalu Memorial Hospital should be renamed Yei Kaalu Societal Healing Institution.
Right. Now, Chuck, you really have an amazing story, and I heard you tell the story just now, and you talked about someone who was actually on the assassination list, and you helped him get out of the country and all that kind of stuff. How, or not even how, but more so, why are you doing this? Not necessarily just helping the individual get out of the country, but why are you, what is your motivation for helping to build this hospital?
That's a good question. I wish I had an answer to that. I don't know why. All I know is when I get out of my own way, life is better, I'm happier, and I'm trying to listen to what my inner voice tells me. Now, I usually fail at that, but sometimes when I hit it, things like Yei Kaalu come along.
Right.
So I don't have a real decent answer. I give you a real flowery answer, but I don't know. It seems like that's just my persona.
Well, you know what? It really is. It really is. As I said, when I first met you and we went to I went to the mustache party, the thing that amazed me again was just the eclectic gathering of folks that was there, and they all all of them, the common thread with everyone that was there was you. You were the common thread of everyone in that building that night. And, I think it is who you are. And I think that even the fact that you just said, I don't know why, I believe that it's just my persona. The truth is that's exactly why, because it's who and what you are. I have, at the end of each show, I always say, live big, live full, live authentic. And what I mean by living big and living full and living authentic is be exactly who and what you are. I believe that the live big part is really about fulfilling your potential. It's really about being full of whatever it is that has been placed in you.
Well, look, we're supposed to talk about Yei Kaalu, not me.
No, but this is about you, though. This is about you, because honestly, I would have never heard of Yei Kaalu had it not been for you, and we would not be in this platform with that. And see, that's the thing that I mean. You're the connector. You are a connector, and a part of what this show is really about is about people using their passions, using their skills, using their talents, using their insights to do what they can to make the world a better place. That's how we can accomplish the sustainability goals. This is my little sneaky way of making that happen. And so in order for people to be inspired to do that, it can't just be a story about brick and mortar. It can't just be a story about giving out medicine. Mm-hmm. I have to know the human connection to that. Mm-hmm. And my friend, you are human.
You remind me of two core values that have been internalized in me. I remember hearing a Tai Chi teacher tell me that the only true art is my life. And, I'm involved in the arts a lot. Mm-hmm. But the highest art is how I live my life. And that Tai Chi teacher taught that to me. I also had the privilege of meeting Mahatma Gandhi's grandson. And I remember him embedding in me that we must be the change we wish to see in the world. So I've taken that to heart. If I can improve myself or work on myself or internalize this, then somehow I may have a positive effect on other people. So I can't point my finger at anybody, but if I do something that's true to my values that causes no harm but improves, then maybe we can move forward. So it's from the inside out.
It's absolutely a beautiful demonstration of what can be achieved if we would just show up. If we would just show up and be authentic in that space, this is what can happen. You can build hospitals in Liberia. You can do those kinds of things. And I'll tell you what really stands out to me in all of this is there was no major epiphany that you came to. There was no moment of realization. You just simply went through the process of doing what it is that Chuck does. Someone said, hey, I need your help. You said, I can't help you. I'll do anything for you. Why? Because I love you. So I'll do anything for you. And one thing led to the other. In other words, you were open. And one of the things that I want to encourage you to do today as you're listening to this podcast is be open to the possibilities. Be open to that inner voice that's calling out for you to do something in this world, to make a difference. And listen, it doesn't have to be anything huge. It doesn't have to be, well, they're going to make a monument to me because I did this. No. If you would just look in, as my friend Nathan Todd said, look at your world 360 degrees around you. What can you do to change that 360 degrees, to make that 360 degrees better? And that's what you're doing with Yei Kaalu.
Thank you. And I say the same thing that you're doing with your podcast. So it all interconnects.
Wow. I appreciate it, man.
In fact, when you told me 5 Ps, my mind went immediately to P to the power of 5. And then I saw a hand and 5 fingers and what those fingers can do together. So
right.
That's my image when you said 5 Ps.
Oh man, that's cool. That's that artistic thing coming out of you, man. That's really cool. Now, Chuck, I want to talk about how people can support Yei Kaalu.
Yei Kaalu.
I've been saying it right all day, and now I mess it up. Yei Kaalu. How can people support you? What do you need?
Well, we do need money, but money's the least important, believe it or not. We need talent. We need doctors, midwives, nurses, volunteers, people to sit on the advisory council. We need people's ideas. The money will come, but without a strong foundation, you can give us $1 million, but if it's not utilized and maximized, optimized correctly, and strategically placed, then it does nothing. So I need brain power. I need people that are committed. I think Alexander the Great once said, if I had 5 people with perfect discipline, he could conquer the world. He says, I only got 3, so he failed.
Gotcha.
So I need good people, good talent.
People.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Committed people.
And how can people, if they wanted to share their talent, their time, and their treasure with you, how can people get in contact with you to learn more, to do that?
Well, go to the website, Yei Kaalu, YEIKAALU, memorialhospital.org.
Okay. Let's say it one more time.
Yei Kaalu, YEIKAALU, memorialhospital.org. And you'll have my phone number, email address on that website. I also have some blogs that you can read and stay up to date on.
Oh, fantastic. If there was one thing that you would want to leave with someone listening to this podcast right now, what would that one thing be?
Oh, get out of your own way. Yeah. We overthink things. If we get out of our own way, then things come to us that guide us to do what we need to do. And again, that goes back to Alexander the Great. If you have someone who is in touch with themselves and gets out of their own way, then I think things flow through us as a community that we help each other in that respect. There are too many people that are trying to do me. It's not a bad thing. I'm not trying to judge people, but when we become self-centered in that respect, things become complicated and we overdo it and we actually mess up, even with good intentions. What's
right.
The road to hell is paved with good
intentions.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So if we get out of our own way, and I say this from experience, so
right.
that's why I'm saying that, then I think we're led to the right area. Right. And that's why I'm saying we need talent. We need people that are committed, and just a few people can make a big difference.
Yeah. In hearing you say that, and just thinking about when I asked you what was it that you needed, it's amazing. You mentioned money, but you said that that's not the most important thing. Interestingly enough, when people hear about people building hospitals, the first thing that people think right away, okay, this is going to be a fundraising push. That's what this is going to be. But again, it really demonstrates who you are to say what I really need is I need your talent. I need your ideas. I need your hands. Mm-hmm. I need that muscle. Mm-hmm. That's what I need. And that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes to who and what not only you are, but how pure the mission of this hospital is. That this is really about making the world a better place. This is really about serving that community, that region, and in turn serving the world, because you're serving the whole of humanity through that. And that's amazing. I love the concept of getting out of your own way. I often say that when I think about success, I think we should strive for success. We should go after that. And of course, success is as varied as the people who have a concept of what success is. But I also say, I am striving for greatness. And greatness to me is not about what I was able to achieve for Lamondre Pugh as Lamondre Pugh, but it's about the people that I've been able to elevate, the people whose lives I've been able to help improve, the person who maybe wasn't feeling good about themselves, who maybe didn't feel like they could do it, or who didn't feel like they had purpose or direction or mission, but somehow something I said or something I did or some example that I exhibited to them made them change that perspective, and they realized that, wait a minute, I am a star. I can do something. I have a light. I have value. I have something that I can give. And that, realizing that is really what I am looking for, allowed me to step out of my way. Because then, it was no longer about me having the name. It was no longer about, Lamondre is a star. But it's about the universe of stars that surround us. And if we can help that universe to shine, then I think we'll be all right.
You're walking, you're talking. You just reminded me of an anecdote or a story.
Please.
People say, well, Chuck, there are so many needs here. Why don't we just help people here? And I say, well, I agree with you. So I am involved with local organizations helping people here. But when you help one, you help all. And no matter where it is, the world is round. And when you're in a plane, you don't see the borders. But I do understand the different cultures and that aspect. But I'll give a story of a father who is working very, very, very hard. And he comes home after work, and one of his favorite things is to sit down and read the newspaper. But today he was extra tired. And he walks into the door, kisses his wife, and the little kid comes up to him, little kid, 2-3 years old, and comes up to his father and hugs his leg, and he says, Daddy, can we play? And he says, not now. We'll play a little later. Daddy's really tired. Can I just sit down for a little bit and read the newspaper? And, of course, kids say, yes, Daddy, but they have no concept of time. So the father sits down in his chair, takes out the paper, and starts reading it. And next thing you know, the kid's going, Daddy, is it time yet? Because, again, that was eternity for him. And the father says, no, not yet. I'm still reading. Okay, Daddy. And then he starts to read. And next thing you know, the kid goes, Daddy, is it time yet? So the father goes, you know what? Not yet, but here, let me cut this picture out and give it to you. And you use it as a puzzle. And it's a picture of the world. And I want you to put it together so that you can show me how smart you are. So the father thinking, okay, I'll cut this up, and this is going to take him a long time, and I can finish reading the newspaper. So he cuts it up, gives it to his kid, and the kid starts working on the puzzle, and the dad is saying, okay, now I can read. Next thing you know, Daddy, I'm finished. And he goes, what? You're finished? How'd you finish so quick? He says, it was easy. There's a picture of a man on the other side, a face. All I had to do is put the face together, and the world came together. So that's another thing. You help, you work on yourself, and the world comes together. So no matter where you are, you're helping the world.
It is the Yei Kaalu Memorial Hospital, and the website is yeikaalumemorialhospital.org.
Yes.
Please get in contact, learn more about it, read up on it, get in contact with Chuck. He is doing amazing work and has done amazing work for years and years and years. Chuck, thank you for being on the show today, man. I really hope that you get a great response from this, and you can get that time, talent, and treasure that you're seeking, all right?
You're too kind, and thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, as I said, it was an incredible interview and just an amazing concept, and I absolutely love the spirit in which Chuck goes about his daily work and just doing what he does, and how he has moved out of his own way and has opened doors for so many others in so many different ways. Again, I would love to hear from you. If you have show ideas, if you have comments that you want to make, or just let me know what you think about 5P. Give us a call, 803-470-2830. That's 803-470-2830. And connect with us on Facebook and Twitter. 5P Podcast. That's Facebook and Twitter, 5P Podcast. And that's all the time that I have today for 5P with Lamondre. As always, today is the perfect day to begin being the change that you want to see. Live big, live full, live authentic. Until next time.